Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Wednesday, the 17th of September. Chinese President Xi Jinping arrives in India for a 3-day visit. Bangladesh Supreme Court commutes death sentence of Jamaat leader Hossain. And POK flood victims laud rescue work by Indian Army. And now for all the details, Chinese President Xi Jinping reached India on Wednesday as part of a strategic South Asia tour. The two neighbours are expected to sign a number of trade and investment agreements during the 3-day visit. A report.
President Xi Jinping, who reached western Gujarat's Ahmedabad, was greeted with a traditional manner on Wednesday. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended his welcome to the Chinese Premier, who is on his first visit to the country. The two leaders later held a one-on-one meeting, with both the countries signing a number of agreements, including one to build an industrial park in Gujarat with the help of Beijing. President Jinping is also scheduled to meet his Indian counterpart Pranab Mukherjee and Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj on Thursday. The Chinese Premier, who is on a multi-nation South Asia tour, arrived in India after completing his 2-day visit to Sri Lanka. President Jinping inaugurated a $1.5 billion project to build a port city in Sri Lankan capital Colombo. This is the second port project Beijing has undertaken in the island nation after the ongoing project in southern Hambantota. Sri Lankan President Mahinda Rajapaksa said his country will extend support to China's proposed 21st century maritime Silk Route.
Sri Lanka is happy to support the proposal by China to build the 21st century maritime Silk Road, having been located on the ancient maritime route between the east and west, as recognized in the Mahinda Chintana vision for the future.
Beijing and Colombo also agreed to establish a bilateral free trade agreement to strengthen trade ties.
双宣布正式启动自由贸易谈判进程，并将明天在这里举行首轮谈判。我希望双方抓紧制定谈判时间表和路线图，争取早日建成中斯自由贸易区。
The Chinese Premier's South Asia tour, which aims at strengthening his country's economic and strategic position in the region, began with his visit to the Maldives earlier this week. President Jinping had cancelled his proposed trip to Pakistan following the ongoing political turmoil in the country.
The Bangladesh Supreme Court on Wednesday commuted the death penalty of war crimes convict Delwar Hossain Sayyidi. The Jamaat-e-Islami leader was found guilty of crimes against humanity committed during the Bangladesh Liberation War.
The appellate bench of the Bangladesh Supreme Court on Wednesday commuted the death penalty awarded to Delwar Hossain Sayyidi by the International War Crimes Tribunal, or ICT. The apex court in its order, however, said the 73-year-old will have to spend the rest of his life in jail. The ICT had found Sayyidi guilty of charges including murder, rape, arson, attack on minority Hindu community and forced conversion during the 1971 Liberation War. He was awarded the death penalty for the same in February last year. Sayyidi is also the vice president of the Jamaat, Bangladesh's largest Islamist party, which is accused of fighting alongside the Pakistan army during the independence movement. The Jamaat and its affiliates had gone on a rampage in capital Dhaka and other towns protesting against his conviction, unleashing violence last year, leaving dozens dead. The Supreme Court order comes as a setback to Liberation War veterans who had been for long seeking capital punishment for Sayyidi and other war crimes accused. Activists of the Gano Jagran Manch, or People's Resurgence Platform of Bangladesh, took to the streets of capital Dhaka seeking a revision of the judgment and maximum punishment for Sayyidi soon after the court verdict.
সাইদি একজন চিহ্নিত যুদ্ধাপরাধী। আপনারা জানেন যে ৭১ সালে গণহত্যার যে অভিযোগগুলো রয়েছে বেশিরভাগের সাথেই তার সংশ্লিষ্টতার অভিযোগ রয়েছে এবং সুপিরিয়র রেসপন্সিবিলিটিস হিসেবেও সে অভিযুক্ত। তার বিরুদ্ধে যে আনিত অভিযোগগুলো বেশিরভাগই প্রমাণিত হয়েছে।
The youth of Bangladesh, under the banner of Gunajagran Manch, had organized nearly a month-long street protest in the Bangladeshi capital last year, seeking death penalty to war criminals.
The people of flood-ravaged Pakistan-occupied Kashmir are struggling to gather back their disrupted lives. After being caught in the calamity on the Indian side of border, many are lauding the work of Indian Army for providing relief and doing what the Pakistani regime could not do for them.
68 Pakistani nationals who were trapped in the Indian side of Kashmir managed to return home through a cross-border bus service. The group of people from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir or POK who spent a fortnight on Indian Kashmir were grateful to the Indian Army who repaired an iron bridge connecting Poonch and Rawalkot and facilitated their return.
फ्लड में बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान हुए, तकरीबन जानी और माली नुकसान हुए यहाँ पे। तो सबसे पहले उन्होंने स्टेप उठाया, लोगों की मदद की, उनको फ्लड से बचाया और जहाँ तक राशन पानी का मसला था, जम्मू कश्मीर में लोग बहुत फंसे हुए थे, तो उन्होंने निकाले यहाँ से। तो इस मामले में आर्मी का बहुत ज़्यादा ताउन रहा है।
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਨੇ ਪੁਲ ਬਣਾਏ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੇ ਫੌਜ ਨੇ ਜੀ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਜਨਾਬ ਉਹ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੰਮ ਹੋਇਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਸੀਗਾ, ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਚਲਾਇਆ। ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਖੁਦ ਜਿਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਫਲੱਡ ਹੋਇਆ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚ ਰਿਹਾ ਸਾਂ ਕਿ ਮਹੀਨਾ ਜਾਂ 2 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਅੱਜ ਫੌਜ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਕੀਤਾ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਤਵੱਕੋ ਆਸੀ।
5 days of incessant rains early this month led to landslides damaging roads, dozens of bridges, buildings and crops across the Himalayan state of Jammu and Kashmir. The crucial highways connecting both sides of Kashmir also got cut off after suffering extensive damage, making it difficult for essential supplies to reach those affected. In one of the biggest relief operations in the country ever, the Indian Army and the National Disaster Management Authority, which has deployed 30,000 troops, rescued over 2,26,000 in the flood-ravaged state by Wednesday.
राशन दे रहे, पानियों से निकाल रहे, जहाँ भी मुश्किलात आ रहे थे, विच लोग फंसे हुए हैं, वो उनको निकाल रहे हैं, वो उन्होंने निकाल रहे। बाकी पुल जो हैं वो बना रहे हैं, फौज ने बना रही। फौज ये इधर का बहुत मैंने देखा तो बहुत अच्छा कानून है, हमारी भी रहनुमाई बहुत अच्छी कर रही जब हम लोग पाकिस्तान से मेहमान आए थे।
The floods have also wreaked havoc in Pakistan, leaving around 400 dead, inundating hundreds of villages and destroying thousands of acres of farmland. The inaction of the Nawaz Sharif government in Pakistani Kashmir has made locals angry.
On to some other developments now. Indian President Pranab Mukherjee concluded his 4-day visit to Vietnam on Wednesday. Both countries have agreed to further enhance strategic partnership in areas of mutual interest.
Indian President Pranab Mukherjee visited the historic Ho Chi Minh City during the last leg of his Vietnam trip on Tuesday. The Premier also took to the War Remnants Museum, which exhibits memoirs relating to the Vietnam War. President Mukherjee also viewed a cultural program at the Opera House and attended the community reception hosted by Indian Ambassador to Vietnam, Preeti Saran. Addressing a delegation, he said both countries had a vast scope for working together.
Today, India and Vietnam are two of the fastest growing economies in the world. The potential of our cooperation is infinite. Both our governments have accorded the fullest encouragement over the years to these linkages. Today, we are discussing direct flights between India and Vietnam, which will further enhance the connectivity and impulses of goodwill and collaboration.
The Indian president, who began his Vietnam visit on Sunday, met his counterpart Truong Tan Sang, Prime Minister Nguyen Tan Dung, along with several other high-level engagements as part of the tour. Both countries signed a number of bilateral deals in fields of defense and security cooperation, economy, science and technology, people-to-people links, technical and regional assistance. Vietnamese Prime Minister Dung is also expected to visit New Delhi next month.
The total number of polio cases reported in Pakistan rose to 158 this year, after 13 new patients were confirmed by the health authorities on Tuesday. The latest wild type 1 polio cases were registered from the federally administered tribal areas or FATA, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Sindh, Punjab and Balochistan. The cases mostly come from the regions where polio vaccination has been banned by the Pakistan Taliban, calling it a Western plot to sterilize Muslims. Pakistan is one of the few countries in the world where the crippling disease is still endemic. The World Health Organization had in May imposed a travel ban on Pakistanis flying abroad. The Independent Monitoring Board for Polio is scheduled to meet by the end of this month to decide on the implementation of the travel restriction on Pakistan. After the successful leagues of cricket, badminton and kabaddi, the latest Indian Super League has already got aspirations soaring. Ahead of its launch next month, the tournament promises to take the country's soccer to international levels. Take a look.
It is no short of any moment. As the Indian Super League or ISL gears up for its big debut, the on-field action of a soccer match is also reverberating off-field too. And with the tournament boasting of starry names including soccer legend Zico, the ISL is aiming to up the glamour quotient one notch higher too. The former Brazilian midfielder has taken the Indian route to join ISL franchise FC Goa as its murky manager. Popularly known as White Pele, the soccer star said it was the passion of Goan people towards the game that encouraged him to get associated with the team.
Que foi o Goa que foi lá no Brasil para conversar comigo, né?
And it was the Goans who came to Brazil to talk to me about the whole project.
A gente muitas vezes não escolhe, quem escolhe são aqueles que precisam, né, e que querem, né?
It's not we who choose, but we are chosen by those who want us. So we cannot be choosing.
As FC Goa is polishing its management skills, Kerala Blasters are getting ready too. The team, owned by cricketing legend Sachin Tendulkar, unveiled the team's logo at an event held in Kochi. The team members, along with Indian football icon I M Vijayan, were happy to pose wearing the traditional attire of Mundu. Blasters murky player David James said the team will try to uphold the football tradition of the southern province.
Our team is dedicated. I think we've got a very, very good squad, and we will do everything that we can to uphold the traditions of Kerala as a region and the football. We will try and win the tournament, the competition, and bring a trophy back to Kerala.
Former England striker Michael Chopra said he wanted to help in nurturing new talent in India.
Obviously I've got ideas of myself, along with my agency SME International, of opening academies up, because that's what footballers needed at this time in India. They need better facilities for the young kids to come through and hopefully one day fulfil their dreams of playing international football and professional football.
The ISL, which follows the highly successful Indian Premier League cricket tournament format, has 8 franchise-based teams owned by Bollywood celebrities including Abhishek Bachchan, Ranbir Kapoor and John Abraham. Sports icon Sourav Ganguly, along with some top business honchos in India, also own various teams.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Chinese President Xi Jinping arrives in India for 3-day visit. Bangladesh Supreme Court commutes death sentence of Jamaat leader Hossain. And POK flood victims laud rescue work by Indian Army. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.